away as Election Day, detailed in the previous Israel on Board video, marks the start of the hard work to form an Israeli government, one of many differences between the U.S. and Israeli systems. In 24 national elections since 1949, no Israeli party or group of parties running together has ever won a 61-seat majority in the 120-seat Knesset. The alignment, a coalition of left-of-center parties that included Mapai, once Israel's dominant party, came closest with 56 seats in 1969. Led by Prime Minister Golda Meir, the party triumphed on euphoria and a wave of emotion after the June 1967 war victory. Because a prime minister needs the backing of a majority of the Knesset to govern, he or she must combine parties into a coalition representing at least 61 seats. After the election, the President of Israel meets with the leaders of all the parties that have won Knesset seats and asks them who they believe will have the best chance to create a coalition of parties with a ruling majority. Within a week of the election, the president picks one party leader to try to form a coalition and thus become prime minister. Deciding which person among those of the leading parties has the best chance to put together a government is one of the most important responsibilities of the Israeli president. The person the president chooses is almost always the leader of the party that won the most Knesset seats. He or she has 4 weeks to form a coalition with at least 61 seats and can secure a 2-week extension if necessary. The coalition negotiations mix conflicting party priorities and personal rivalries, and usually involve promises to support policies and offers of Knesset committee chairs and cabinet posts. If the first party leader chosen fails, the president gives the leader of another party 4 weeks to try to make a coalition deal. If that coalition building also fails, the president can request a new election, usually in 60 to 90 days. The outgoing parliament sits in power even after the election, until the moment the new parliament is sworn into office. Unlike in the United States, in Israel the president is the head of state, not the head of government, so the president doesn't balance out the power of the Knesset and prime minister. And unlike the United States and many parliamentary democracies, including Britain and Canada, Israel doesn't have 2 separate chambers in the legislature to provide balance, so the main check on the prime minister and his party are all the other parties in the Knesset. In the 2015 election, 4.2 million out of 5.9 million eligible Israelis cast ballots for 25 lists. 10 lists representing 16 parties won seats. The biggest party was Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud, which won 30 seats, only a quarter of the Knesset. Netanyahu entered into coalition agreements with 4 additional parties to form a government with a bare majority of 61 seats. Parties can be added or removed from the government at any point during the 4-year term, as long as the ruling coalition maintains a majority and is not defeated by a no-confidence motion. Often the prime minister's party not only lacks a majority in the Knesset, but also falls short of a majority in the governing coalition. This was the case after 6 out of 7 elections from 1996 to 2015. In such a government, if the prime minister doesn't keep the minority parties happy and fulfill their needs, the coalition can break apart and force a new election before the end of the full 4-year Knesset term. As a result, smaller parties wield disproportionate power in their areas of special interest. A prime example being the religious party's ability to block legislation regarding yeshiva students' military service. Watch the related Israel on Board video. See the following links for more information.